He's such a good man. Isn't he? She smirked, adjusting her dress. I just nodded, my mind flashing to the driver she was with an hour ago. Yes. He is, I said quietly. So, which one of your work friends from the yard are you introducing him to tonight? The entire room went silent. So, my manager, JR. She's a 41-year-old Mexican woman. 4 kids. Been married for 13 years. On paper, she's the picture of a hardworking, family-oriented woman. At every company picnic or holiday party, she's got her husband on her arm. And she talks about him like he hung the moon. And honestly, the guy is a saint. I've chatted with him a bunch of times. He's one of those genuinely nice, quiet guys who looks at his wife with total adoration. He works a night shift and does freelance jobs on weekends just to make sure she and the kids have everything they need. He's a good man. Which makes the reality of my workday a special kind of hell. Because the JR we see at the warehouse is a completely different person. To most of us, she's just mean. She'll snap at you for clocking in a minute late but won't say a word when her favorites take a 45-minute smoke break. But her attitude does a complete 180 around one specific group of guys. The yard drivers. The moment one of them walks into the office, her whole demeanor changes. Her voice gets softer. She starts laughing. And then the walkie-talkie chatter begins. It's all in Spanish. But you don't need to be fluent to understand the tone. It's that low, flirty, inside joke kind of talk that's completely unprofessional. Then come the disappearances. At least once a day. She's just gone. It's not a lunch break. It's not a scheduled meeting. She'll just vanish from her work area. I'll see one of the yard drivers park their rig in a quiet corner of the lot. And then a minute later, she's slipping out the side exit. A door she has absolutely no reason to ever use. My job requires me to keep track of personnel on the floor. So her absence is noticeable. My brain can't help but process the facts. She's gone for 30 minutes. Sometimes a full hour. When she comes back, she walks in looking flushed. Her hair is slightly out of place. And she smells like cheap gas station cologne mixed with sweat. The conclusion is unavoidable. For a long time, I just tried to block it out. My goal here is simple. Clock in. Do my job. Clock out. And go home. Her life is not my business. But it's getting harder to ignore. The hypocrisy is just staggering. Seeing her gush about her husband one minute and then watching her sneak off with a driver the next is starting to wear on me. I feel this pit in my stomach every time I see her husband at an event. Smiling and holding her hand. Completely clueless. He thinks he's married to a devout Catholic woman who loves him. We know he's married to someone who treats the warehouse yard like her own personal brothel. I thought I could just keep my head down and pretend I didn't see any of it. But a few days ago, something happened on my break that dragged this whole disgusting secret out into the open. And now I don't think I can ignore it anymore. A few days ago, I was on my last break, just sitting on a concrete barrier by the employee parking lot, trying to enjoy the last 15 minutes of peace before the end of shift chaos. That's when a foreman from the adjacent department, a guy I'm friendly enough with, came storming out. He wasn't just walking. He was pacing, running his hands through his hair and muttering to himself. He saw me, made a beeline, and I could tell from 10 feet away that he was about to explode. What's wrong, man? I asked. And that was all it took to open the floodgates. It's that damn whore, he spat out, not even bothering to lower his voice. He then proceeded to unload a story that made my own observations feel like child's play. He told me that a few months back, he and JR were partnered up to run a week-long training seminar for new hires. According to him, they were sleeping together multiple times that week. My brain was struggling to process this. This wasn't a yard driver. This was another member of management. He said things were fine between them until she suddenly started giving him the cold shoulder. The reason? Shed started sleeping with one of his top associates. One of the guys from the training class. This, of course, caused a massive blow-up in his department. His guy was distracted. His performance tanked. And eventually, he and the foreman got into a shouting match about it. And right in the middle of their argument, as they were yelling at each other about both having slept with Junior, another guy from their team, another one of the new hires, chimed in and said, "You guys too. I thought I was the only one." As the foreman was telling me all this, I could see it wasn't just about the cheating. He was pissed that Shed created a toxic mess in his department and was now ignoring him like he didn't exist. For a second, he looked dead serious. He told me he was so fed up with her lies that he was planning on blowing the whole thing up, sending an email to HR, telling everyone in the warehouse, and even showing up at her house to tell her husband everything. But in the end, he decided against it. He said he just couldn't bring himself to be the guy who destroys a family, no matter how much she deserved it. He eventually calmed down, shook his head, and walked away, leaving me sitting there on that concrete barrier. My goal of just minding my own business was officially dead. This wasn't a secret I was holding on to anymore. It was public knowledge, at least among a growing circle. The foreman backing down felt less like a resolution and more like he was passing a lit stick of dynamite to the next person in line. And now, I feel like I'm the one holding it. What was once a suspicion has now been confirmed in the most dramatic way possible. And it's 100 times worse than I ever imagined. Now, the floodgates are officially open. What used to be my own private, disturbing observation is now the worst kept secret in the entire company. The foreman talking to me seems to have broken some kind of dam, and the rumors are spreading like wildfire. You can feel the shift in the warehouse atmosphere. Guys who used to be friendly with JR now barely make eye contact. You'll see a couple of people whispering by the loading bay, and they'll immediately go silent when she walks past. It's gotten to the point where it's a daily topic of conversation, and it seems like every other day a new name gets added to the list of guys she's supposedly been with. It's disgusting, and it makes her daily act even more infuriating to watch. Just yesterday, I heard her loudly complaining to another manager about how she has to teach her daughter about modesty and being a good Catholic girl. This was maybe an hour before I watched her glance at her phone, give a subtle nod towards the yard, and then slip out that same side exit door. She was gone for 40 minutes. Her job has not, and will never, require her to go outside for anything. It's so blatant, so shameless, that it almost feels like she gets off on the risk. All I can think about now is her husband. Every time she disappears, I picture him. I picture him trying to sleep during the day after a long night shift, or out on a Saturday doing some freelance job, busting his ass to make extra money for his family. He's working himself to the bone for a woman who spends her days treating their marriage vows like a checklist of things to break. The inside jokes among the crew have mostly stopped, because it's crossed a line from being darkly funny to just being profoundly sad. We're all witnesses to a public humiliation, and the only person who doesn't know is the one person who it's happening to. So this is where I'm at. Reddit. I'm stuck. My conscience is screaming at me. This guy deserves to know the truth. He deserves to know that the life he's sacrificing everything for is a complete lie. But what does telling him actually accomplish? It'd be detonating a nuclear bomb in the middle of his life. And for what? To make myself feel better. There are 4 kids involved here. It'd be destroying their family, too. Staying silent feels cowardly and makes me feel complicit. But speaking up feels cruel and destructive. So, I'm turning to you. What the hell is the right thing to do here? Do I find some way, anonymously or otherwise, to tell this genuinely good man that his entire world is a sham? Or do I keep my mouth shut, mind my own business, and let him live in blissful ignorance while his wife continues to betray him on a daily basis?